Spokane Public Schools asked for your input on how to best keep kids safe at school. Hundreds of people responded. We'll tell you what they said.
Thick fog has overtaken the Spokane area. I'll let you know how long we'll be dealing with these weather conditions.
And a 13-year-old Wisconsin girl missing since October has been found alive. Jamie Kloss is safe. A suspect is in custody. The latest on that case tonight. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Mark Hanrahan. Whitney is off tonight. If you have been outside tonight, you know just how foggy it is out there. In fact, the National Weather Service issued a dense fog advisory. Let's get straight to meteorologist Thomas Patrick. And Thomas, how long is this fog hanging around?
Yeah, Mark, it's been pretty bad the last couple hours here, and the fog will be with us not only all night tonight, but into tomorrow morning's commute as well. Thus, a dense fog advisory issued until 11 a.m. on Friday for Spokane, Coeur d'Alene, Cheney, Davenport areas, and just a few of the surrounding communities. Visibilities have easily been a quarter mile or less for several hours, and now in Spokane, it's officially zero, or you could probably just measure it in feet as of this point. Getting really bad, especially on that I-90 corridor between Spokane and Coeur d'Alene for this evening. Let's take you to a traffic cam. I-90 US 2 out near the airport. You can barely even see the road, even though it is being illuminated by one of the street lamps up above there. So that's what it looks like outside. That's what it will look like in front of your face if you are driving out there for this evening. Same story tomorrow morning. Hoping for a little bit of improvement after sunrise tomorrow, but the visibilities will still be at around a quarter of a mile for some hours to come. But I'll let you know how many more days we could be dealing with some of the same weather conditions. Your full forecast in just a few minutes.
Sounds good, Thomas. Thank you very much. Now to our other top story tonight. Authorities in Wisconsin say 13-year-old Jamie Kloss, who went missing back in October after her parents were killed, has been found alive. In October, authorities in Barron, Wisconsin received a mostly inaudible 911 call from the Kloss family home. When they arrived, Jamie's parents were dead and the 13-year-old was missing. That sparked a massive search effort. Tonight, authorities are not talking about the details surrounding how she was found. They're waiting to hold a press conference until tomorrow morning. However, they do say they have a suspect in custody. The Barron County Sheriff's Department posted on its Facebook page Thursday night that Jamie had been found alive in Douglas County, Wisconsin. That borders Lake Superior. Jamie Kloss has been described as a distant relative of a couple in Harrison, Idaho. That's according to the St. Mary's Gazette-Record newspaper. As we learn more about this case, we will be sure to pass it along. Well, in other news, it is among the most discussed topics among parents all across the country. How to best keep your kids safe at school. Spokane Public Schools sent out a survey asking for ideas, and hundreds of people responded. Tonight, KREM 2 Shayna Walltower got a look at the top responses.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. You may remember back in September that Spokane Public Schools sent out a perception survey asking people what they thought makes a successful school environment. Well, in November, the school sent out another survey, this time focusing more on safety. This survey received almost 2,600 responses. Those results came out today and showed the areas where people thought the schools should focus more of their attention. The survey was an online forum inviting parents, teachers, and community members to share their thoughts on school safety. Participants responded to a number of prompts on various topics. So now that those results are out, the most popular response was relating to students' behaviors. Some of these responses were about listening to school staff when they suggest a student may need support. Others were on student conduct and how one student's behavior can affect others' ability to learn. And another was on disciplining students who have made threats or brought weapons to school. The theme that received the second most comments was mental health. Popular responses were that all schools should have mental health professionals who can recognize any issues and then prevent any incidents. Others said that schools need more counselors and psychologists so students have trusted adults who can offer them support. And finally, the third most common theme was on single entry points into school buildings. Many responders said they believe it's important to make sure that staff can monitor exactly who's entering and leaving a building. So now what happens with all of these responses? Well, Brian Connington with Spokane Public Schools says they all become part of a discussion group where students, teachers, and school staff meet to discuss how to continue improving local schools. This group meets throughout the year and uses these surveys to help focus their discussion. Now, this isn't the first time Spokane Public Schools has sent out surveys like these. Coddington tells me they send them anywhere from 3 to 6 times a year. Reporting in the newsroom, Shayna Waldtower, KREM 2 News.
We are tracking new details tonight on a deadly police shooting in North Spokane Monday night. The agencies investigating the shooting confirmed the man was not armed. We are also learning more about what police say led up to it. Investigators say the original caller said their neighbor, David Novak, was outside shooting at her and others. Other witnesses told investigators Novak was threatening them and using racial slurs. Officers told investigators when they got to the house, they heard what they thought was a gunshot and shot Novak in his driveway. Investigators did not find a gun. Investigators from Washington State Patrol, Spokane County Sheriff's Office, and other agencies are now investigating. Pullman police say the department reached a $500,000 settlement with a WSU student. This comes after a 2016 incident in which Kyle North said 2 officers broke his arm and dislocated his elbow. We got body camera footage of that incident late last year, showing officers spending several minutes asking North questions to better understand why he needed help. The police came into contact with him at a Jack in the Box restaurant where he told officers he was concerned for his safety. Shortly after, North became defensive and that situation escalated. The department says they did not admit any wrongdoing in the settlement, saying in part, "We do not believe our officers did anything wrong and in fact handled the call well by employing their crisis intervention training with patience until the circumstances required officers to attempt to take Mr. North into custody." The officers' actions were to control Mr. North and overcome the physical resistance he was presenting to them. Today, President Donald Trump visited McAllen, Texas to tour the southern border. He also warned if Democrats won't compromise on funding for the wall, he could declare a national emergency, which would allow him to go around Congress and use military money to pay for it.
I have the absolute right to declare a national emergency. I haven't done it yet. I may do it. If this doesn't work out, probably I will do it. I would almost say definitely.
The president also tried to clarify his often reported promise that Mexico would pay for the wall, explaining he never meant it would pay directly, but rather through the new trade deal his administration negotiated with both Mexico and Canada. Today, Democrats held their own press conference while the president toured the border. They're trying to pass separate bills that would reopen the federal agencies currently being impacted by the shutdown.
And quite frankly, when the president talks about this being a national security issue, no, it really isn't. It's about a policy that is discriminatory as to where people are coming into this country.
Last night, House Democrats voted to reopen the Treasury Department. 8 Republicans joined them in voting for that bill, which ultimately was blocked in the Senate. Washington Congresswoman Kathy McMorris-Rodgers voted no. She says she won't vote to open any part of the government until the wall is funded. In a statement to KREM 2, she says in part, the president has already said he won't sign these bills. Democrats continue to show they would rather waste time on bills that have no chance of becoming law than try to reach a compromise. All right, still ahead tonight, the Hilliard neighborhood in Spokane was once a bustling railroad town. It's now trying to shake off a bad reputation. How new home buyers and the revitalization of businesses is giving that area new life. Coming up next.